Hello, welcome to Your College in the Morning, brought to you through the facilities of Trent Radio on 92.7 FM. I'm Zach.
And I'm Kelsey.
And we are the hosts for the semester. You could also be listening to this show
on YouTube.
On YouTube.
The Monday after.
The Monday after each show. We're now posting on YouTube, so check that out. The channel is Peter Zosky College.
Yes, not to be mistaken by Zosky College.
Which is a completely different. So, last week, we wrote a song. It was really fun. If you haven't seen that episode, I would highly recommend checking it out on our YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. This week, we are upper year students at Trent. And I think along the way, I've made some mistakes, for sure.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I've made some mistakes.
I've made my fair share of mistakes.
Exactly. Who hasn't, right? So, today, we're talking about advice, regrets, things we think we would have known at the beginning, things I think I could benefit now.
Yeah.
Just like advice that I'm trying to give myself, I think, maybe. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be talking about school and education, that kind of vibe, because that's why we're all here, right?
Yeah. Isn't that the whole point of everything?
Isn't that the whole, of everything. Definitely of university.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about school. We're going to be talking about social lives. Which is almost equally as important. I think those are the two big ones. And then the other three, we're going to talk about food, how to feed yourself.
Food.
We're going to talk about, we're going to talk about money. And then we're going to talk about housing. And give our best pro tips from a couple of old dogs. Yeah, okay, well.
Let's get into it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. This is your personal, the best advice
that I would give
that you've heard, worst advice we've heard. I think we're going to try to stick to that. We'll see how well it goes. Our theme in previous episodes has been saying we're going to do something and not doing it, I think. No? Okay, yeah. And then, but we'll try to stick to it this time. Anyways, okay. So, you go first, okay? And then I'll go, and then we'll switch back and forth. All right?
So, my best advice?
Best advice for school. Pick one. You can't pick. This is your best advice. Think hard.
I don't even know. I feel like it also depends on, the person sometimes.
Your best advice.
I would say, I don't know, I feel like there's such, this thing around university that, you have to finish in 4 years, and you have to, you're in a 4-year degree, get all your courses done, and then, get out of here. But honestly, there's, no issue with having to, add on an extra semester or go down to taking 4 courses a semester so that you can, have a lesser course load, and then you might have to, do an extra year, there's no rush.
True that.
There's no rush. And also, once you're, done university, then you, stop, learning, and, I don't know, unless you go to, other education, but then you go into, the workforce right away. But, I don't know, I feel like there's such, I guess my advice would just be, don't worry about if you have to, stay at school longer. And I know there might be, I don't know, financial things that have to do, with certain people's, situations, but, yeah.
No, that's great advice.
Yeah.
I love it. That's actually
especially
really
with I don't know, experiential learning opportunities.
True that.
And, different things that
and
you might not be
abroad.
able to fit. Yeah, that you might not be able to fit in 4 years.
What's the harm? Huh. That is good advice. Okay, what's your worst advice?
My worst advice? I feel like one of the most common ones that you probably hear coming into university is to make sure you get involved, which is so true and great, but also I feel don't get involved in too much, and then you can't put enough effort into everything you're doing. Wow. So
that's great advice.
Yeah.
That is good advice.
Thanks.
Mine are a little less deep. I think doing the readings in a class is underrated. No joking. Yeah. I feel like no one does the readings, and neither do I. I'm not trying to.
I couldn't tell you the last time I did a reading.
But I'm in these classes, if you did the readings, you could probably do way better than you are in the class. No joke. I actually think that if I did the readings for my classes, I could get I don't know. I feel like I would almost go as far as saying doing the readings is more important than going to lecture. Almost.
Yeah.
And also, like, not skimming through a paper. And again, though, like, I do all these things. And I'm horrible at reading. I get distracted way too easily. And I, like, click on something and now I'm reading something else and whatever. And that's the problem, too, with, like, reading stuff on your computer. I don't know. So I guess my main... Print your readings out if they're, like, on a computer and read them, I guess. Because I've been starting to do that, and it turns out not that hard. University, this whole thing, not too difficult. Nah, I'm kidding. But yeah, that's my best advice, which is not like the best advice, but it's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah.
And then my worst advice, I don't know, this is controversial. Kelsey is not a fan of working in like groups of people. And I am and I'm not, and I don't know. Like, am I more productive or am I less productive?
Yeah. I just get so distracted.
Me
I think
too.
it also maybe like...
But then, like, sometimes I don't.
If you're working with people that maybe are not, like, they're, like, in your classes and, like, you're not necessarily, like, besties with all of them and, like, you're able to, like, focus and study. But I don't know. Sometimes then if you're, like, working with your, like, close friends. It's so easy to just, like, talk the whole time.
Yeah, especially, like, I really like working with people because it keeps me motivated if everyone's working. If one person is, like, very obviously not, like... working right now, then it's like really hard, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I feel this.
So I don't know what the advice is there. Work with people, don't work with people.
Like, I feel like just like learn what works best for you.
True that.
Yeah. Okay. Test it out.
This is just like Captain Obvious kind of stuff a little bit, but you know, you might not think of it. And anyways, okay. On to the next one. Life. Social life. Just life in general. Me and my friend have this joke where we'll ignore school for like days and then be like, work-life balance. It's not a work-life balance for the record. I think we get a lot of things where people are like just as an excuse to party. This is also bear in mind that none of this advice is stuff I follow. Yeah. But I feel like we're always like, work-life balance. But, like, that's just so you can justify going out on a Tuesday night. You know what I mean? But it's like, like, work-life balance. Like, you know what I'm going to say? You know what actually the best advice I've ever heard was? And it's not my advice. And this actually is good advice. And our friend, Nick Toth. Shout out Nick.
Shout out to Nick.
Said it one day when we were doing a student success panel for orientation. Anyways, he said you need to manage your expectations, which was very interesting. And like, what are your expectations? And that I think goes into like everyone's individual whatever. Yeah, no, it was really good advice. And he was like, are your expectations to be the best in school, or are your expectations to be the best in like the most social person, or be the person that goes out all the time? Like, what are set those expectations, and don't be unrealistic. Like, be honest with yourself. If you you can be the person that goes out all the time and get your school done. Don't get me wrong. Like, you don't. I don't know. I'm a big... I personally think you can really push the limits at our age. I'm not kidding. Of, like, how much sleep you... Like, I'm not joking. You can really push it. So you can do that stuff, but, like, know that that's, like... Then, like, will you get a lot of sleep? And will you, feel like crap all the time? And, like, I don't know. But is that okay with you? Like, are you okay with not getting much sleep and just, like... pushing the limits of burning the candle at both ends to get to meet those expectations that you have? I don't know. I think it's very individual. Yeah.
I think also looking at, like, if you look at your expectations, that probably will also help with, like, FOMO, because I know that's, like, such a huge thing.
True.
So, like, knowing your expectations just helps you, like, separate yourself from, like, other people, which would then help with not feeling, like, bad and, like,
True.
about FOMO. So.
No, yeah, no. Oh, good advice. Okay. Anything else for life and social?
Maybe, too, that just, like, a good way to, like, be social. It doesn't necessarily, like, you can, like, be social, I don't know, like, with a club or a group at Trent, or, like, with like, even, like, going, if you're in first year, like, going down the hall to your common room and, like, maybe just, like, sitting and, like, doing work there and just like having like that interaction with like different people and things like that.
So, okay, here's a question. I know you're gonna move on, but here's a question: can you mix school and social life, or should they be separate? Kind of going back to what we were talking about before, like working with friends. Like, if you're like, are you actually working, or are you actually focused? If you're mixing the two, or are you just better off to lock yourself away and finish all the work you have to do, and then spend time with your friends later, and like really separate them? Because I think there's two like I think. I don't know. I actually don't know what the answer is, but I think like the most like Elon Musk, you know, who like fucking separates his day, and like Jeff Bezos or whatever, these super successful people. Not that you should model yourselves after either of them by any means, but you know, super successful people, like set out time blocks of like, I'm gonna do exactly this in this time blocks to make more time. I don't know what the.
Maybe then, like, maybe that is something that, like, comes down to the individual. Like, obviously, but, like, of what you, like, you can kind of decide, like, where to, like, draw the line or something. I don't know.
Well, and also, I think it also depends day to day as well.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that was my last one.
Good question.
Okay. All right. Our next one is food.
Food.
I will say, I love to cook, but I'm also like, as many people are, very busy. I'm a very busy guy. Not to, but
well, when you have school and social life,
and most of us work part-time jobs, and then you know you have all these other like commitments that you make, and I'm not complaining. I love being busy, but especially like. I think for Trent, because our school is so far away from where we live for most of us, it's hard to cook. It's hard to make food for yourself. So I always end up buying food on campus or fast food on my way home. And like, I don't know, kind of.
Or brutal. Even like in the mornings, like I know I always like rush out the door and I'm like, oh, I'll just grab like a muffin or a bagel on campus, and then I'm here all day, like sometimes until like 9 p.m. So then I need to buy lunch and dinner, and then like, and like the meals are like they can be expensive.
Totally.
Here. And so
No, totally. And so I think I don't know what the advice is here. Before we continue though, I just want to take a moment, because we're nearing the halfway mark, and welcome anyone who's just joined us. You're listening to Your College in the Morning. I'm Zach.
And I'm Kelsey.
Yeah. Welcome. Hosted through the facilities of Trent Radio on 92.7 FM. Today we're giving advice, and right now...
just all things student life at
Trent. Things student life at Trent. Perfect. Right now we're talking about food, and we're just discussing how... as busy bees, as many of us are in university, it's hard to not get fast food all the time or go to the dining hall.
It's hard to meal prep, to grocery shop.
Exactly.
Find the time.
That's another point. Grocery shopping.
Yeah.
I have an Instacart membership. I do. It's $50 a year, which is a lot, but... I use it like all the time because I don't have a car, and when you don't have a car, what are you gonna do to get groceries? Bus, and then you have to carry it all, and it's like tons of stuff,
especially
and then you look
winter.
like a weirdo on the bus with tons of bags. Like, you don't want to be the person grocery shopping and then taking the bus. So then, if you don't have a car, you have to wait for either take the bus and get like small, like a bag, like not that much food, which is, you know, you don't need that much for one person, but. I don't know, it's kind of tough. And then, or you wait for someone to need to go, like, with a car to go, but then they're really, like, it's just, grocery shopping, I think, is kind of the kicker. It's brutal.
Yeah.
And it takes up a lot of time. Like, it takes, you know, you gotta drive, like, at least an hour. At least, including commute. At least. Which is, like, I don't know, like, I don't always, like, have an hour in a week to spare. And usually, like, if I have an hour in a week, like, I'm tired and I need a break.
Yeah. Especially, too, if you, like, I know sometimes in my house, like, like we'll try and like me and my roommates will like try and go together, like, but then you also have to like find a time that like works for everyone,
totally,
which doesn't always like happen or work out, and then you just don't have groceries.
No, literally. I'm a big fan of Instacart, and they one time did our friend get socks instead of like carrots or something. And so Instacart is not always the most reliable. However, it works, and it saves me so much time.
It's also like just such a like shift, I guess, if you're not living in an annex, because I know that's a bit different, but like if you're like in first year or just like an on-campus student, going from like getting your meals at the dining hall all the time, like you just get used to it. So then as an upper year student, when you come back to campus, you're like, oh, I'll just get food on campus.
Well, and in last year when I was in my second year, it was easier too because I still had Trent cash.
Oh yeah, your meal plan.
Plan. Yeah. I still have my meal plan left. So, and like as we all know, that's not real money. That's just fake money.
It is fake money.
You know. But then it runs out, and now, again, like I try to bring food, but even if you bring one fucking fridge in your backpack, like first of all, it won't fit. Second of all, it like I'm not trying to pack like a sandwich for lunch and a sandwich. You know, I want like. I want
variety.
Hot food. Yeah. So, but then like you have class. Like I have a lot of late classes, and then I work. Like I don't know. I just feel like it's tough. Yeah. It's super tough.
But I guess as a little option, we do have it more available like this semester, I think, than any semester before. But we have in Zosky, we have a kitchen where people can like rent it out. It's the Jacob Thomas kitchen in NYang 345, I believe. So
you can come down here and cook if you live here.
Yeah, so
it's kind of dope. Well, and one thing I always forget about is like there's microwaves literally everywhere on campus.
Yeah, and even like in all the like college offices, like you can bring in your food. Did you ever, when you were in dorm, did you ever make little stuff in your dorm room or no?
Yeah, I did. I had like a mini slow cooker.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that's fancy.
Yeah, and it was literally just a hot bowl. So I would heat up like soup. Like that's the extent of that. And then I had like a blender, so I'd make like smoothies in the fridge. But that's it. What about you?
I would do like same thing. I had like a little like mini Keurig. Or whatever, do coffee, and then I would do like oatmeal sometimes, and I don't know, like cereal. I feel like that's like a classic. Other than that, there's like not too much. Other than like if you bring up your like, if you get your like green tray and bring it up to your room and put like leftovers in the fridge, and then you can like warm it up. There's like not much you can actually like make. Unless I guess they also have like the like mini craft dinner, like you just like
the like
water
little add water
like,
things. Yeah. Well, I know my friend in first year did have a microwave in her room. I didn't, but she would make like microwavable meals all the time, which is cool. Anyways, that's it on food. I don't know what the advice is. The advice is we don't know what to do, and we have a problem of eating
too much on campus.
Yeah, and spending too much money.
Which brings us to the next topic.
Money. I'm horrible.
If someone could give me advice on this.
Yeah. If you're good with money, let me know.
Yeah.
Because I am so bad with money. I also am just like, I always give people money and then never ask for it back. I'm also really bad at paying people back. Like I'm just like bad with money, like horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways, next. No, just kidding. But I just like, I think most of it, like I don't buy a lot of stuff. Like I'm not really a stuff kind of guy. I don't buy like new clothes all the time. I know that's a big one. Or like.
I think most of it, when it comes down, like, is food.
Or going out.
Yeah.
I can't even think about how much money I spend on fast food. I've been cutting back the past week-ish. So we'll see how long that lasts. But
or even just like Starbucks, like that.
I haven't got Starbucks in a week. No, I'm cutting back. I am.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Cutting down.
Wow.
Yeah, I haven't gone into the student center, and just a little throwback, the long line. And you know where I've been getting my coffee? No joke. I'm not even kidding. Bada Bean, because it's $2. $2. They'll let you fill whatever you want with a coffee. Yeah. Okay.
And it's so good.
It's delicious. I'm drinking it right freaking now.
Wow.
Yep.
If you want more info on that, you should go to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, listen to our
watch our coffee taste test
episode
review.
2, I think it was. I think one of the best pieces of advice I've ever heard personally is just like look at what you spend, because I'm very scared to look at what I spend, like always. And
then all of a sudden you're like,
check my
Visa
bank
is
account.
maxed out.
Literally. I won't check my bank account for like weeks now, like days. And then I'm like nervous to check because I don't want to. And then it's like either like way lower than I thought or like way higher than I thought it was going to be. We both also like work part-time, which definitely.
But I will say, like, going from like working full-time in the summer part-time. And then you're like, oh well, I'm still working, but not nearly to like the same extent. Like you go from like 35 hours a week to like 8 to 10 hours a week, and which is like still great, like for like to have,
and still important, and still like
and definitely like helps, but it's just, I don't know, you have to like rewire like mindset to like think, oh, I can't, like I'm not making the same amount of money.
No, totally. But and I spend and spend and spend, and again, mostly on food, which is brutal. But I love Subway. I do. I love it. So okay, anything else to say about money? No. Right. Housing. So this is interesting. When I was in first year, let me start with a little story.
Okay.
When I was in first year, I had no friends. It was COVID. So, in my defense. But I didn't, like, I had friends, but not, like, many. And everyone that I knew, I met in, like, second semester.
So they already had.
They already had housing. So it was coming up to March or May or something. And I was like, what am I going to do? My parents were like, where are you going to live next year? You got to start thinking about that. And I was like, I've been thinking about it. Like, I don't know. Like, what? So then my friend from high school was like, oh, this guy I know, like, he's super cool. You should be friends with him. So I, like, followed him on Instagram or whatever. And then he posted that they were looking for a roommate. And I was like,
it's perfect.
I'm desperate. I'm not kidding. And now, like, it's funny now because we're like very good friends. But I like would have never done this if I wasn't like, if I had no idea. And I was like, hey, like, see you have a room. Like, I need a place to live next year. And he was like, sure, like, you want to come check it out, whatever. Anyways, long story short, we're roommates. And the point of that story is I think that is one of the best ways to go about it. Not this, like, random, like, hoping, something falls in your lap. But for me personally, there were people in first year that I was like, oh, I could probably room with them. I could probably ask them if they wanted to live together. But, like, I don't know. I feel like being roommates first has made it, like, honestly, like, I love my roommates. And compared to, like, other people I know who moved in with their best friends or moved in with people they met in first year, like, you grow up and you don't necessarily, like...
Yeah. Well, a lot of the time, like, you hear, like, going into university, like, I don't know, like, just a lot of the, like, typical, like, drama that you hear of, like, is with the people you're living with or, like, roommates. And, like, most times that happens when you like already knew the person,
Yeah.
or like you had these expectations.
No, totally.
Like, with like the people you're living
or
with.
like I love my roommates and I love hanging out with them and they are some of my best friends, but I can still like leave and be like, oh, I'm going to hang out with
you can like set those like boundaries.
Yeah, so it's like it's not weird. Whereas I feel like if I was living with my best friend and I was like, oh, I'm leaving, they'd be like, let's hang out together, which is like fine. I love hanging out with my friends, but I feel like sometimes you do need a variety of things. Whereas if your best friend's also your roommate, you might see that one person all the time, which I don't know. For me personally, sounds
especially if you're like in the
awful.
same program.
Yeah, no,
something,
totally.
But
and I love. Don't get me wrong. I love my friends, love them. But I don't know. I don't think that's something. I'm very happy with my situation. What are your thoughts?
No, yeah, I agree. I also, it probably also depends. Like, I feel like there are certain people that can like do a good job of like being friends and roommates,
Totally.
Like, and like
sure.
working that balance.
This is not the rule.
No. But then like there are definitely many situations where like friendships probably end because you like are living together, and that could have been avoided if you didn't live together.
Totally. Well, and even in my house, we have our chore chart. Our house is, like, not to brag, and it is by no means my doing. Like, my roommates are very clean, and it is them leading the charge. But our house is like one of the cleanest houses out of.
It's
like,
so clean.
It's like very very
spotless.
clean. Literally, almost too spotless. But it's because we have those like boundaries set where like we have expectations of what the house will look like and whatever. Whereas I feel like if I was with my best friend, setting those boundaries
it can like make it hard to like talk to them about it.
Yeah,
or, like,
well, if
you like let things slip, and
like if my roommate left dishes in the sink, I have no problem, and vice versa, they have no problem telling me, hey, like, do this. Like, no, it's not. There's no question, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I feel like if it was my best friend, it would be a little bit more awkward, or, like, you might not want to, I don't know, like, make them feel crappy about it. I don't know. I just feel like the dynamic
it's
in that
definitely
is so different.
But if you are, like, looking for, like, a place to live for next year, I would say, like, start looking sooner rather than later, because
Totally.
they do go very quick. I remember when I was in first year, I found a place before Christmas, I think, like in December, which is like normally I think when people would find them, but like Zach said too, you can find like other students like posting, like they might be looking for like one or two people, roommate. That sort of thing.
And you know what's hilarious about that is like that like is partially because people move in with their best friends and then one person moves out or whatever,
and that's why there's a space
open. Which is hilarious. I also think that like we could talk about like where you want to live. I don't know. I feel like for our school, then this is totally opinion. Like this is not by any means a fact. I vote downtown. I live downtown.
Yeah.
I think, yes, are there areas that are quote unquote less sketchy? Like I don't think you're gonna have the same issues in like University Heights as you do on Water Street or George Street.
But then again, like you get that everywhere. And
totally.
So,
and I think you're closer to, I think the majority of students live downtown, so it's really easy to get to a friend's house. You can walk there. You can go to a grocery store really, really easily. Yeah. Whereas like the other places, you don't have that access the same way.
Although you might have like a bigger, nicer house. Like it's just, you might not be like near as many things or like people as you might like to.
And I feel like a lot of people want to live near the university, but like the busing from University Heights versus from George and London is not that different. It's like a 5-minute
the buses
difference.
come so often too.
No, totally.
So
I don't know. I think that's that on housing.
Yeah. Don't let anything deter you from if you have like a group of best friends
and you think go for it.
Yeah.
And I feel like people are like, you don't have to live with these people for 4 years.
Oh no, like I
and
know
if you
so
think
many,
you are, that's great. But
I know so many people that went from like they lived in this house in first year, and then for the next 2 years they lived in a separate house with like different people, and like everything changes, and like you don't know what's gonna happen. So.
Yeah, and also I know people who have like moved in with people and like a random person, and they were weird and strange and like I don't know, smelled really bad or something. So and again, all advice is opinion. Yeah. Anyways, that's our. Thanks for listening to our university survival guide.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. Wow.
You're listening to Your College in the Morning. I'm Zach.
And I'm Kelsey.
Thanks for joining us for episode 4, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.